yes, thank you very much for being here on this afternoon. It's been really fun rehearsing for these concerts. It's been like a really almost, I think you're going to find it's a very magical environment that we're able to create in here. It is a concert for the young and the young at heart. So I do want to devote a little time to maybe sharing some knowledge, asking you some questions, but I always think it's good to get a concert, which is supposed to be about music, started with music. So I'm going to keep my notes about the piece that I just wrote, Dog, fairly short here, but this is our dog, and her name is Lizzie. And so in Carnival of the Animals by Camille Saint-Saëns, there are both domestic animals and wild animals. Zoos were actually a fairly new idea at the time that Saint-Saëns was alive. But I was looking at this and I was thinking, all right, so now here's a question for everybody in the room. Who is man's best friend? So why did Saint-Saëns leave dog out? That's what I wanted to know. And I decided, therefore, that I should write a new movement for Carnival of the Animals called Dog. So this is Lizzie. Lizzie is a long-haired Chihuahua, probably got a little bit of something else like Jack Terrier or something. And she's, believe it or not, you can't really tell from the picture, but she is a tripod. And that is how Nikki and I and our family adopted her. She had been through some fairly traumatic experiences with previous owners, and she came to us as a three-legged dog. So that indeed influenced how I wrote this piece. So this piece, Dog, is in several sections. In the first section, I call it Running, because believe it or not, Lizzie runs as well as any dog I've ever met, with whether she has 3 or 4 legs. She's very fast. However, because she has 3, I wrote that section in the meter of 3/4, and a lot of the rhythmic patterns are in 3. Anyhow, and you also kind of hear a fanfare in it, because Chihuahuas were historically watchdogs. So that they would be the first ones, if somebody was intruding on your camp, to sound the alarm. So you always hear this kind of bump-a-da-dum, and that's Lizzie calling attention to things. In the second section of the piece, I call it Smelling and Hunting. So those of you that are dog owners know that when you take your dog out for a walk, one of the big pleasures that a dog has in this life, because they have the capability of smelling like unbelievably more than we can as humans. It's a real stimulant for them to just see who's been in the neighborhood. It's kind of, I always think of it, it's like smoke signals, you know. So I wrote that section to kind of reflect how she like really checks everything out and sniffs at it and all of that. And occasionally she's been kind of a fierce hunter as well. Then the middle section of the piece is called Dreaming, because, of course, like most domestic pets, animals, or family members, as she is in our case, grandchild perhaps, she sleeps a lot. But I always notice when she sleeps that, she definitely dreams. And sometimes they have even, you'll watch their paws shake a little bit because they're running in their dream. So I have, if you'll listen very carefully in the sleeping section, the dreaming section, you will hear, first of all, quotes that are about Lizzie's heritage, because Chihuahua is a section of Mexico. So I have a couple little Mexican folk tunes that kind of show up in there. And I also have just a tiny excerpt of the running part of the movement that begins the movement. After that, we go on to a recap, a recapitulation, or a repeat of the running section. And then in the classical tradition of music, we often have a little segment at the end of a piece that we call the coda, which is Italian for tail. And as you will hear, I use the music from the smelling section, but it gets slower and slower, and it's Lizzie's tail wagging slower and slower until she goes back to sleep. So we hope that you enjoy Dog.
The truth I do not stretch or shove when I state that the dog is full of love. I've also found by actual test a wet dog is the lovingest.